should be up and going here. All right. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Start tapping them likes. Let's try to get to 5K likes again as quick as we can. It is much appreciated. I do appreciate all of you for being here. Sorry we had to do the restart, but we will be doing a restart halfway through all of the shows from here on out for June, because the first half will be LGBTQ, the second half will be a God topic. So we will be doing a halfway through restart every live for June, except for the one night that we are doing our Pride Night. And that is just going to be having people up from the LGBTQ community. Hopefully we can get Dugald, Seth, Benny, so many wonderful people in our community that are affected by being part of the LGBTQ community, and we want to hear from them. So we are going to have people up like that. I am working out a time and date with a couple that was married before the transition of the trans woman in the relationship, and just kind of how all of that came to be. We're going to have that conversation, and kind of she is in the construction field, and she had been for years and years as the manager. And then talking to her a little about her her experience there as well, I think is good for the community to learn more about the LGBTQ communities and different components of the LGBTQ community, and it helps us all to grow as individuals. That's what Pride Month's for.
Happy Pride, everybody.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Hopefully, oh, there we go. We got part 2. Hopefully it's up and going. It is up and going. Welcome back. Welcome back. Rimbleys, I just want you to know I did get your super chat. You must have missed it because I did read it. I went back and looked through the video. I did read your super chat. I don't know. It must have just been really bad timing, but yeah, I got your super chat from last time. Timothy is number 2. Yes, you are, Timothy. Thanks for joining us here today. Rimbles, thank you so much for modding for me and being here every time I'm live. Rimbles, Aaron, we've got so many great mods over there. Are you a map? Absolutely not. I am a victim of one, but I am not one. No problem. Appreciate you so much. So many great mods on YouTube and TikTok. Guys, please keep tapping them likes. We will bring up a guest sooner, but let's try to at least get to 2K before we bring up a guest.
Do you like panelists to tap?
What?
Some people don't want panelists to tap on the screen?
I don't.
It doesn't help for panelists to tap on the screen, so we don't normally. Actually, it sometimes can be annoying because they won't know they have their mic on and they're tapping.
And you'll hear.
Oh, thank you, Glitter. Big W for Glitter, sending out a subscription. So I don't tap when I'm up here, Ashlyn, because it doesn't go towards pushing us out. They want the chat to do it. They want the chat to do it. You guys, thank you so much for all the likes, shares, and gifts from the last take. And I really appreciate the fact that you guys do tap as quickly as you can to get us up there. Don't forget the shares, though. They're really important. We need 100 shares. The easiest way to get it done is to hold your finger down on your screen. A list of a bajillion people will come up. And if you start hitting send to all of those people, we will see you spam your name in the chat. And that's how we know, like that that you're doing it. So if you guys could spam out some shares, I'd really appreciate it. When you click the arrow and you go share or whatever to the people up there, it doesn't count them individually. When you hold down the screen and you send it, it counts them individually.
Oh, I just learned something new.
Yep. All right,
Yeah.
we got over 100. So the guest box is open. I think it's fine being open. We're at 3,000 plus likes. We've got the 100 plus shares. You guys, so if you are a Christian, believer in the God of the Bible, and you do not agree with the prompt that says God is evil, come on in. Just request up. The guest box is open. Do you have a way for people to call in? Is Video Ninja up on the YouTube?
Yes, Video Ninja is up on the YouTube. I do not have it pinned because I can't get into that account on this computer for some reason. So
gotcha.
You're going to have to go to the description, and in the description, you will be able to join the conversation on Video Ninja.
May
All right.
I did a major oopsie earlier, and that was saying that Joyful was one of my favorite creators without including Crystal in this conversation. How freaking dare I? Because I know you're equally in on this. It's just like, it's the host live and all of that, so I apologize. I meant the same also for you.
You didn't offend me at all. I
Crystal literally,
Ashlyn,
Ashlyn, she texted me and she was like, "Can you believe this bitch?" And I was like,
I wouldn't even blame her. No, I was just like thinking about that. I was like, oh my god, I didn't even include Crystal on this comment. Like, it's very clear that I meant it for both of these individuals, but I was like, I didn't say it specifically, so sorry.
The other night, Justin was up here talking about everybody, and he was like, there's me, and then Joyful knows this. I don't remember who else was up here. And then, like, I just was chopped liver. He didn't even say anything. Like, and Crystal knows some stuff. You know, he could have said that. He could have been like, and Crystal, well, she's kind of funny, you know, something. I don't know.
she has a couple points here and there.
Listen,
I do, yeah.
Whether they deconstruct or not, they're still men. They're still,
Misogyny is definitely a big part of deconstruction.
No, to be fair, he was just talking about
also
people who were like pastors and stuff, and I literally did not qualify. I'm just joking. He was not being. I am not saying that Justin was a misogynist that night. He was just pointing out that he was a pastor and Joyful was a associate pastor, and he's right. I was just a youth pastor interim. I wasn't even ever a youth pastor. They didn't let me get the job because I was a woman.
No. We know Justin. Well, I hope everyone in this live knows that Justin is very clearly not misogynistic.
Can none of the mods over there put or pin comments on YouTube? Because I feel like I don't know how to edit mods' abilities. Betty, if you are in the chat, could you pin it, maybe? Super chat. Can't pin. I can't. Skeptically Piss says super chat. I'm not sure what that is. Or sup chat. Okay, I got you. I thought you were saying that I had one that I didn't read. Who is you? Oh, cool. We have some winners over on YouTube. Postal, that was very nice. Guys, if you disagree with the background or you have any kind of input to put on the background, go ahead and guest up. Either through tinyurl, it's in the description over there in YouTube. It is the Video Ninja, or guest over here on TikTok. That way Crystal and Ashlyn can talk as well. Because on Video Ninja, that just isn't available right now. I'm trying to figure out a way to make it available. It's just a lot of headache for my guests to also join Video Ninja and have these conversations. Your standard of evil. Oh, there we go. Zach, I sent you an invite and we can talk about what my standard of evil is and what your standard of evil is. And we can compare, and I mean, I love having a big comparison with other men. It's great.
Sir Gimps says, wouldn't God have to exist to be evil? Guess what, sir? We're going to give it to you. We're going to go, okay, the God of the Bible exists. And now we're telling you that God is evil.
Yeah, by God's standard alone is going to be the standard in which I use to call God evil.
We should just go ahead and start talking about how evil he is. There's so many ways. It's just ridiculous. But you know, we had Bible study this week, as usual, right?
Yep.
And we read the story about the golden calf. And I don't know, like, how I just forget all the details of these stories until I reread them again. And then I'm like, well, I just didn't remember all of that. You know, I didn't remember that Moses begs God, like, don't do it, don't, because God says, hey, just leave me alone. Let me go boil in my wrath so I can, you know, unalive all these people for what they've done, right? And Moses is like, no, God, don't. And God goes, okay, I won't. And so then Moses gets all the Levites or whatever together and has him go slaughter them after he saved them and begged God to not do it. And it's just a horrible
It's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful story if you think about it in context.
Okay, thanks, Joyful. Hey, TTV, can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
I'm 20.
TTV, are you with us? Oh, okay. And are you a Christian or a believer of the God of the Bible?
Well, I believe in a God of the Bible, but probably not the God of the Bible that y'all believe in, or not y'all, but probably atheists will believe in. So basically, what I'm saying is, I believe in Christian morals, like the stuff that Christians talk about, but not the specific.
Okay, so you're a Sadak Mac Biftaj?
Say it again.
You're Sadak Mac Biftaj.
Do you follow the teachings of Jesus?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. So do you think it was?
I also want to ask him this. Do you follow the Ten Commandments? I just want to get that out of there right now.
Oh yeah.
You follow the Ten Commandments. Okay.
Yes,
cool.
ma'am.
All right. Just remember you said this. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep. Okay, so you follow the teachings of Jesus. Do you think it was a good teaching when Jesus said that the Pharisees worshipped God in vain because they no longer unalive children for cursing their parents, but rather give them an out?
So you said Jesus said the Pharisees was giving their children out to God, and God condemned them for it because he felt like that was wrong?
Well, yeah, so the Pharisees had traditions that they lived by, which said that if children say that all of the chores and things they did for their parents were a gift to God, they no longer had to honor their parents. And Jesus says, but the law says that whoever speaks evil of father or mother must surely die. And you worship God in vain because you hold to these traditions rather than the actual law. So do you think it's a good thing that God or Jesus told them that they should be stoning children for cursing their parents?
Well, to get my best interpretation of what you just said, I don't think it's good for people to get stoned for one, but how I interpret that passage is I was stoning the children. I think I would interpret it. I don't know if anybody else interpret it this way, but the way I interpret it is discipline your child, you know, in the same ways that most people do in these same days we do today, either whipping them or verbal.
No, he literally uses the word die.
Not only that, hitting a kid is always wrong.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's good, but I think this is my interpretation of what it says. I could be totally wrong, you know.
But you
but,
don't think it's good, but
Yeah.
you're interpreting it as this, and then
Yeah.
saying I disagree with it. So even if it was interpreted in this way that you're claiming it to be, you're also
Yeah.
saying that I still disagree with it.
Yeah, it's so funny. People in the chat are always upset that I take the Bible for what it actually says. It's so funny to me. So TTV.
No, I don't.
So
I don't disagree when anyone discipline a child in a way that they see fit. I don't.
okay, so if I
disagree with
unalived my
unaliving
children, if I unalived my child for cursing me, do you think I did something good or bad?
See that's why I was just trying to clarify. Like if you're doing stuff like that, I feel like from my interpretation of the Ten Commandments, it does not tell you to unalive anyone.
That's incorrect.
No,
it
that's
literally
not what-
does tell you to unalive children for
Can
being.
can you tell me
Yes.
that commandment?
Yeah, so the commandment says honor your father and mother, but then later it's clarified. Give me 1 second and I'll show you. It says if they don't. It's in Deuteronomy. Give me 1 second.
I am sure I mean this with no offense. He probably doesn't know that there are two sets of Ten Commandments.
No, I'm aware of the interpretations and all that. I'm also aware of that.
Where are they located in the Bible?
Who exactly you talking about?
The Ten Commandments.
You didn't let me finish, and that's what I'm asking. So you said you're aware. Where are the Ten Commandments in the Bible?
Given to other people by Moses. So I would say Deuteronomy, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, and the other set?
The other set, what you talk about? Are you referring to the 612 or 32?
Nope, I'm talking about the first time.
I'm sorry, I'm missing the question. Then
Exodus
20.
Exodus 20 and then
how many
Exodus
times
30.
was the Ten Commandments mentioned? What you asking me?
No, this was the first time it was.
The only time the Ten Commandments are mentioned is in Exodus 30. The ones that you try to follow are in Exodus 20, and they're not called the Ten Commandments. God never called them the Ten Commandments. But you don't even
But no, I didn't
know
never.
the Ten Commandments. Those are in
I
Exodus
didn't never
30. You probably
say. I
never
never
even read them.
clarified. But I never said. I never told y'all the Ten Commandments either, though. So, what Ten Commandments are y'all referring to? Yeah, because I never clarified it.
Are you talking about the ones that say, "Thou shalt not have any god before me"? Is that the one you're thinking of? Those Ten
Hold
Commandments?
on, no, hold on, my daughter. Real quick, I'm sorry, my daughter right in front of me. Hold on, I got mute. She asked me something.
That's okay. Take care of your daughter, of course.
Yeah,
That's okay. I'll
always
mute
take
you.
care
You go
of.
ahead and take care of her.
I wonder if
got
he's
you.
talking about the one that has the command, no one is to appear before me empty-handed. Or maybe the one that says, celebrate the festival of weeks with the first fruits of wheat harvest. I mean, those are the only thing that God himself calls the Ten Commandments. So I think it's odd that Christians so much rely on this movie they watched called the Ten Commandments, and then all of a sudden the list in Exodus 20 becomes the Ten Commandments, whereas God's actual 10 commandments he gave were totally different. One of them is do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. It's wild. It's absolutely wild.
Wait, hold on. I'm confused. Crystal, you said Exodus 30?
Exodus 34.
Okay, 34.
Oh, I'm sorry, 34. You're right. I said the wrong chapter. Exodus 34. Exodus 20.
Yeah, I'm talking about, and this is what I was referring to him because there is Deuteronomy, and then there is Exodus
Yep.
20, and then
That's
okay,
what I
'cause
was
was
thinking
like,
too.
yeah, because I was like Exodus 30.
Exodus
Yeah,
34.
But that's the one he doesn't know, and those are the ones that are called the Ten Commandments, not the ones in
So
Exodus 20.
I'm okay. So I want to hear this again. So those in that specific passage is what called the Ten Commandments. Please specify exactly what is the 10 things that he told us not to do, or what we were allowed
Yep.
to do. The specific
Yeah,
10 commandments.
so yep. He says be careful not to make a treaty with those who live in the land where you are going, and they will be a snare among you. Break down their altars, smash their sacred stones, and cut down their Asherah poles. Don't worship any other god, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. And then the second one is be careful not to make a treaty with those who live in the land from whom the prostitute themselves, or for who prostitute themselves to their gods and sacrifice to them. They will invite you, and you will eat their sacrifice, and you will choose some of their daughters as wives for your sons, and those daughters prostitute themselves to their gods. They will lead your sons to do the same. And then it says, number 3 is do not make any idols. Number 4 is celebrate the festival of unleavened bread. For 7 days eat bread made without yeast, as I command you. Do this at the appointed time in the month of Aviv. For in that month you came out of Egypt. I think this is number 4 or number 5? Number 4.
Can I ask you a question real quick? Is that
Yep.
referring?
Yeah, this is the 10 commandments God gave.
I'm saying is those the commandments given to Israelites?
Hey, we can't hear you.
Yeah, you sound like you're like underwater.
Can I drop down and come back up?
No, you sound fine
You
now.
sound better now.
Is those commandments given to the Israelites too?
Yep. Same as
So-
the 10 commandments.
Same 10 commandments. Okay, one more question. When Jesus came back and he said what the Israelites was doing was wrong, is it because is it because those commandments that they were following was the same commandments, or is it because there was different commandments?
Yeah, they made up their own traditions instead of following the commandments.
So they made up of their own version of the 10 commandments.
Yep.
then.
Yep.
So that would mean that would not be the original 10 commandments, right?
No, I'm reading the original 10 commandments.
I'm saying, yeah, that's by what you're saying. It's the original by their accord, but also it's
Not by their
No.
accord.
No.
God gave them the 10 Commandments. Listen very carefully, TTV. God gave them the 10 Commandments plus many others, okay? Because God never tells you that you only have to follow the 10 Commandments. But for some reason, y'all think that, okay? He gave many commandments, hundreds, okay? And when Jesus came, he said, look over here at these law makers and keepers here, okay? The Sadducees, the Pharisees, look at them. Don't do what they do, but do what they say, because they do know the law, they're just not keeping it. So you are supposed to keep the law that God gave to Moses. They didn't. Instead, they were like, instead of unaliving children like they should have, they were taking a little donation called Corban, and then they were allowing the children to live. And Jesus didn't like that. He thought the children should be stoned to unalivement.
I also heard stories of the Pharisees and Sadducees condemning Christians they said that Christians was eating babies, and only reason they said Christians eating babies is because when they was neglecting the child, if they was born not healthy or not, as fit as they deemed
How
to be.
hell does this have to do with
I don't know this real quick.
conversation?
And they didn't believe that their children that they was having was not fit to be in that
Can we-
Where
society.
is that?
we
Where
go
is that?
back?
Can you tell me?
I
Can
don't
you
know.
tell me Yeah, because
I don't even know what the
that's
hell
not
that
in
Hold on,
there.
real quick. I know y'all
TTV.
probably have not heard this, but this is definitely something y'all should hear. According
It's
to the
not biblical though. It's not
I know
biblical.
it's biblical. It's biblical.
No,
Because this,
no, 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 no. It's not. There's
no, hold
nowhere
on.
in the Bible that says Jesus is mad because the Pharisees and the Sadducees were making people eat babies. There's
No, that's
nowhere
not
in
what
the
I just
scripture
said.
that
No,
says
that's
that.
not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the people that was going against the Christians or was claiming the Christians were doing bad things at these certain times. One of the things that they were saying about the Christians was that the Christians was eating babies.
Okay,
Why
nobody
did they
was
say
saying that.
Why?
real
Why?
But
quick?
you
Hold on,
know,
this is why.
but did you
Let me
know
tell
that
you.
God said? Did you know that God said that He's gonna make you eat your babies? Did you know that God said He's gonna punish you with cannibalism? Did you know that? God did cannibalism,
Oh, well, I'm
not the
not
other
aware
way
of that.
around.
I want to get to my point though.
TTV
But
is
I'm trying to make a
no. This
point.
is a red herring.
There's not.
We'll go
It's not
back.
red
No, no,
herring. I
no.
didn't make a
Well,
point.
let's go back to the fact that the Exodus 20 is a part of Moses and his what he was supposedly told on Mount Sinai. Then you go to Exodus 34. That's a new Ten Commandments because apparently Moses can be trusted with some freaking tablets.
That's what I want to say. That's what I was trying to get at. Because if you look at that
What does
text,
that have to do with eating babies?
because look, I'm telling you, because when you read it, what the just not just scholars, but people like us, me and you, talk about what we consider scholars that talk about this same argument. All right, and the argument is, um, have you ever heard of this term
Hey, I
called?
have some brown shoes in my house.
Have you ever heard? Have any of y'all ever heard of this argument called?
Oh, I thought brown shoes attributed to this conversation just as much as people eating babies.
What argument are
Huh?
you trying to say? What argument are you trying to say, TTV?
Damn, she made me forget. I was trying to listen to what she's saying, but basically, I forgot. I'm sorry because I was getting interrupted.
That's okay. Yeah, I don't know what eating babies has to do with the Ten Commandments. I'm with Ashlyn on that.
Yeah. Because I was trying to like come from your perspective for people that don't believe in the Bible or people that don't believe in Scripture. Because I'm not claiming Christianity or claiming to follow God and nothing like that. But what I'm just trying to have a conversation. That's all I'm trying to do.
Prior to this, claim to have the Ten Commandments, but yet you can't tell us what the Ten Commandments are or where they.
If you want me to answer you, I can tell you them. If you want me to answer you, I have not been asked that question. I can tell you what I believe.
Yeah, sure. Tell us the Ten Commandments.
Love yourself and love your neighbor and love God. Treat others as you want to be treated. Don't harm anybody else unless you want to be harmed. Basically that's it. That's the
Wait, can you tell me where to?
I can't do it. I can't. He cannot be serious. I have to just believe that's a troll. I have to believe that was a troll. That was just crazy.
No, he was serious. He was serious.
Well, I can't have that conversation. Aaron, you're gonna have to hold on. We have a guy over on Video Ninja. Ashlyn, you will not be able to talk to this person, but if you have commentary or something you want me to ask, just unmute and say what you would like me to say.
And Ashlyn, sometimes I like to have fun and pretend that I am a golf announcer while he's doing this, and I'll give you a little play-by-play of what's going on.
Okay, Noggins, we are with you now. I've already asked your age for TikTok, and you are above 18. And you are a Christian. What is your opinion on the background here?
I like the dinosaur.
The dinosaur? Oh, I'm talking about the background. I'm talking about the background on the live, not on my Video Ninja feed.
Are you talking about mine?
No, God is love.
There you go.
/ evil.
Yeah, so I don't know where you want to start. You're talking about Jesus' commandments and the Ten Commandments.
Well, wherever you'd like to start.
Sure. I'd like to just go philosophical real quick.
Okay.
But Jesus, in John, he says, "A new commandment I give to you, right? Love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself." Which the Ten Commandments are in that, right? So, but as far as like the covenant goes, right? Nowadays we're under the new covenant in Hebrews 8:8, which is under grace, not under law. But before we get into any of that, so you're an atheist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're saying there is no creator, higher being, anything like that?
Oh yeah, I don't believe in one, but I believe that a Christian God would be definitely an evil God based on the book itself.
He's gonna
Okay,
try
well,
to
we
run
can
the
talk about that,
tag
but before
argument.
that, let's just go back. So even like the Big Bang in mathematics, right?
Yep.
Time, space, everything began.
Nope.
So
It didn't
it's not
begin.
infinite in the
It didn't begin. It always existed.
It's not always it's not infinite in the past. It's
Yeah, it is.
mathematically proven.
Nope,
No,
that's not true. You are literally just making up bullshit. There is literal mathematics that prove that eternal regress does work.
No, it doesn't.
Yep. There's literal big crunch, Big Bang models that are presented by people that specialize in that science that shows that big crunches and big bangs have been happening for an eternity past.
Okay. So I've done a lot of research on these before. So I don't know which guys you're watching. You don't have to sneak that, dude. You can grab me one if you want.
I'll get flagged on TikTok.
Okay.
Well, ask him what.
But okay, so I've done a lot of research on this, and I've looked at both sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's lots of mathematicians out there that say, this is just like a mathematical fallacy, right? It's not infinite in the past. But just rock with me for a minute. Let's say there was a beginning.
When they say they've done a lot of research, but they can't tell you
that
anybody.
in itself, because we're here in a universe, right?
Yep.
So something had to create it, right? To say nothing created it. So nothing created everything.
Nope, nothing. Space, time, and matter weren't created. They just always have been.
It's not true, man.
It is.
Well,
so that's going to be hard to go if you just say it's infinite in the past. But check out some other sides and scholars, because it's literally like 99% of the.
That's a lie.
You're
literally just making shit up to prove your point.
I'm not, bro.
Why are most hold on? Why are most astrophysicists, which is who talks about the Big Bang, the vast majority, there's like 87% of them are atheists. Why is that?
Yeah, so they can be atheists, but
okay, if there had to be a creator, hold on. If there had to be a creator, why would the people studying creation, as you would call it, be atheists? That doesn't make sense with your claim.
Well, I'm saying this.
Joyful, you muted, and that means TikTok can't hear the guest.
Right.
What was that?
So the Big Bang, right, was a bang with time, space, and matter.
Yep.
Okay. So you're just saying that just has always happened.
Yep. It's been a continual thing.
Okay, so look, I can go grab some references for you. I don't know if you would even look at them, but look, it's.
What's your reference? Give it to me. I'll look it up right now.
Okay, give me some of yours too.
Okay.
Let's see. Anyways, nothing can't create something, right? Something had to create everything. And then as far as morals go, because I heard you talking about that before.
I never claim. Hold on. You're strawmanning me. I never said nothing created something. I do not believe nothing created something.
Okay.
So don't strawman my argument.
Let's get that one. I'll grab some references for you real quick while we're talking. As far as moral objectives go, right and wrong, okay?
Yep.
Who do you think it's subjective?
Yeah, it's definitely subjective.
Okay.
That's a big pivot.
Was Hitler right in saying
Nope, he was wrong.
he was right? But who's to say? You?
Empathy
He said he was
and
right.
evolutionary processes that have brought our brains into a place to where we can empathize and understand the harm that is within each act. We can then figure out what it is wrong and what is right.
Okay, for example?
For example, like graping women would be wrong. I think it's odd that somebody that's a Christian would be arguing me on moral stances when your God said it's okay to grape women in Deuteronomy 21.
Okay, so before you just start pulling out stuff from the Old Testament, okay?
That was in the Old
First of all,
Testament.
you said Deuteronomy 21?
Yep.
All right.
By the way, you
So,
can run this argument.
do you know anything about all the other cultures back then?
I'm gonna sing
What?
every Joel song.
So all the
just
other
by
cultures
this.
back then,
What?
before he said anything like that, he would warn people for hundreds and hundreds of years, right?
not
Before he
idolatry.
went and sent people in to destroy them. Okay.
Not idolatry.
But like I said, I don't want to get in. I don't want to just pull up Old Testament
We're not
I
stuff
want to get
because
into the Bible.
No,
'cause
listen,
might be
I know
proven
you're
wrong.
scared of reading what your God said was okay. I know, I understand
I'm not,
being scared
so-
of that. I understand.
Jesus-
You know where that comes from? Leviticus 19, as a matter of fact, that's 6 chapters before he says you can own other people as property, hand them down to your children as possessions, and that they will be your slaves for life. So do you think that because Jesus reflected on a law that was encompassed in a law that said you can own slaves, that I should think that's some sort of
Jesus
flex?
is thousands of years after that in the Levitical.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He's quoting a Levitical law.
No, he's not. He said
He absolutely is.
He says, "A new commandment I give to you."
Well, he's lying. It's
Okay.
literally a
Because
law
you
in
just
Leviticus
said not to say,
19.
love your neighbor as yourself.
Yep.
You're talking about slaves, which back then, okay, slaves could have been employees, people
Nope.
who owed money.
No,
And-
these are people you owned. I just told you what the scripture says. It says you own them as property and hand them down to your children. Do you think that's slavery or having an employee?
Okay, and so, first of all, there's a lot of people that had slaves, all right?
I don't care. Your God said it was okay.
God never condoned slavery.
Yes, he did. I just told you where he
Okay.
did.
All right, bro. So, because
There are a lot of alcohol.
Why do you lie?
Is it okay
Why
if
do
I
you
become
come
an
up here and get
alcoholic?
lie and then get mad because I call you on your
Well,
lies?
because you're sitting here saying that the mathematics says that we're infinite in the past. Right?
No, it
You're
says
saying-
it
and
is
you're pulling out a
possible.
verse that says about slaves, which the way that they treated slaves was a billion times better than.
No, you
any
could
of the
beat
other-
them
No,
as long
it
as you didn't knock out
wasn't.
their eye or tooth or kill them, and there would be no punishment according to your God for
Okay,
beating
so
them
do
with
you
a
wanna
rod.
take- Okay, do you know what the ancient Hebrew is? Do you know all the context in the Old Testament and everything? Have you looked at the?
Yep.
Okay, all right. I don't know. Charlie Kirk could probably do that. I'm not an Old Testament.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk's a piece of shit. Do you think that if a
Charlie
what?
Kirk.
Do you think? Let's talk about Charlie Kirk then. Do you think it's okay if you both are drinking with a woman and at 5 a.m. she starts to make out with you and then she removes consent? Do you think it's grape if you then have sex with
I don't
her?
know I don't know Charlie Kirk. But if you want to talk to me about some,
Then why did you bring him up? Why did you bring him up?
I'm not an Old Testament scholar. Like I'm a New Testament.
Kirk's
All right?
not an Old Testament
I follow
scholar
Jesus
either.
Okay.
and the commandments.
Well,
of
you
Jesus.
go read your Bible and then we can have a conversation. Anyway, yeah, that
Oh
was
my
fun.
goodness.
That was like
He literally hit every song Joel sings. I swear to God.
he did.
I think
We would.
all he wanted to do
Everybody
was
would have made a bingo on a
spiritualize.
bingo card right
But by the
there.
way, Joyful, you
Sure.
can, for the sake of the argument, you can run an objective moral argument against these people, and it works really well.
I would like to hear yours sometime. Because I used to run one. That was just like we can't know the objective moral, but every situation obviously has the best outcome. But Christians, to be
Joyful?
honest, would get confused.
Well, you don't have to. If they're so the first thing is if they claim God as an objective moral arbiter, you can say fine, okay, cool. Well, I have an objective moral arbiter, And the fact is that rationality and ethics requires consistency, which basically a person can say that it's wrong that it's done to me, but fine when I do it to others. Like these are universal principles. So a person can't say this. Sorry. So you need consistency and universal ethics. And then empathy is basically enables us to apply that principle, see others as morally relevant, just like ourselves. Without empathy, you you fail to apply to like this empathetical standard and rationally and consistently. Therefore, you're not engaging in rational or objective ethical systems. So if you don't have empathy, therefore you're an irrational actor and you can no longer apply to this. And therefore, this is an objective standard of applying morals. And in doing so, then they say, well, God's morals are, well, that is stance dependent. So God's morals are now subjective. You're muted. You're muted still.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I do run that God's morals would be just as subjective as mine because it's based on his mind. Because they will say that it's okay for him to break these laws because it's only for man that he created these laws. Therefore, the laws of man, morals, as we know them, would be subjective because he's just deciding that for us in his mind.
Yeah,
it would be...
The major thing...
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, so I was listening to allegedly Ian. Remember how Dalton and I used to run this conversation, and we would use this sort of chess game playing. I was watching Ian, and he kind of like fit this last piece, is that you would be an irrational actor, and then he introduced me to the universality principle, or the universal principle. And that is something that kind of keeps this together, to put it to an objective standard, is that there are principles to apply this in. You need to be like consistent in this basis.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I used to run with objective morals, is like the same as the laws of physics and the laws of nature. So there would be laws to our decision making, which would have to stay consistent. But I don't know. When I would go down it was hard for them to follow. Like, I feel like even when I'm watching Ian, like, the Christians don't follow at all.
They don't, but at the same time, I'm sure there's a way in which it can be framed.
Yeah.
That
while we're talking about Ian, can I just plug something real quick?
Yep, go ahead. I need to do a little commercial about Pride Month anyway.
Okay, you guys, Ian is going to be on Decon Q&A with Crystal J. I don't know when yet. I'm hoping end June, somewhere in there. So make sure you follow me. If you have questions that you would like to ask Ian, you get to do it on my show. So make sure you're following me. And if you're on YouTube, I stream on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I am Crystal J, J-A-E. And Ian will be on my show coming up soon.
Nice. Also, we have a lot of new faces in the chat, and I want to do just kind of a Pride Month commercial. I am going to be starting off every live, which we did tonight, with a different LGBTQ debate topic. And we will do that for the first half of the live until 8, or unless guests die off like you did earlier. And then we will go into our biblical debates. But then, one night this month, I'm not sure when, because I'm trying to, with a bigger creator, lock down a time and date that will work for them. I'm going to be having Pride Night, and that's where we're going to talk to people that are part of the LGBTQ that have been greatly affected by society and things like that, and even their home lives, through their affiliation with the LGBTQ, and let them share that and talk about like what we as a deconstruction community can do to further reach the goals of the LGBTQ community as well, and kind of bring down that stigmatism and educate people and do things like that. So it should be a fun night. I'm not exactly sure. Hopefully by the next time I'm live Monday, I will have a date for us, but we will have to see how that goes. Christina Carroll, thanks for being here. Definitely need to get Christina back up here sometime to guest. She was amazing.
We do. She is amazing. So do you want me to call you Plus? What would you like me to call you? You can unmute. What do you want me to call you? Guest? I sent you an invite. What would you like me to call you?
Jerio.
Jerio?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you a Christian or a believer of the God of the Bible?
Yes, I am.
All right. And how old are you?
I'm 18.
Okay. When were you born?
2000.
2000?
Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't add up. Okay, Pumpkin? Go take some remedial math summer school classes.
Slacker, thank you. I try to be a cutie.
Yeah, it's that Christian math. So.
Yeah, they're like, I'm 18. I was born in 1983. Yep.
Part is it's 2025. Like that is easy math.
It is easy.
No, right? It really is. Hey, Rab, how are you? Good to see you.
Crystal, they hate me doing LGBTQ lives. Last time, like, we did the LGBTQ live, got nobody in the live. We did the live last time, and we had 200 plus people, and then I did LGBTQ tonight first, and here we are.
I have to shout out someone called Student Awoken, who is very he does not come up on lives. They are a Dalton level scholar on Revelation.
Revelation?
On Revelation, yes.
Nice.
So if you ever need a friendly on that, because it's a very difficult piece or book in the Bible, chapter in the Bible. Students probably like, don't call me out on that, but student, I'm not gonna lie, every time I look up what you're saying, you are like so spot on.
Facts on facts. Guys, we are out of guests in both TikTok and YouTube. I'm not sure what's happening tonight, but just like no love. I think it's because of the LGBTQ topics, and it is a hot button topic right now. But I'm going to keep running them. I don't care. We can be low numbers for the month. I'm going to run them.
Do it.
Hey, Bert, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are y'all doing? I only requested because you don't have anybody else up.
You're fine.
I wanna throw a wrench, if I might.
Yep.
Okay. I am going to read the Garden of Eden story, the on this day you shall surely unalive differently. I have been I was reading Exodus to prepare for a Torah study that I was leading, and oops, am I echoing?
No, you're fine. That was me. I had to change some things.
And I looked at, so I saw the same exact phrase, mot tamot, like you shall surely unalive. And I saw it in other contexts, and it's being used as an idiom in condemnation, that like you shall be condemned to unalive. And so I think the text could be read and Ibn Ezra agrees. I had never read the commentary before, but Ibn Ezra reads the text as, "On that day you shall be condemned to unalive." In other words, it will bypass any judgment. Like God will be the judge in that moment to say you shall be condemned to unalive.
That's interesting. That is.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, you done fucked everything up. No. No, that is interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that some more. That is very interesting. I take you at your word, so I'm going to not run the God lied, Satan didn't, or the serpent didn't in that situation for a while until I do.
The serpent still didn't lie.
No, the serpent still didn't lie, but unless. Also, when the serpent said what he said, it was also, you are not cursed to die, or you're not condemned. Because if the serpent said the same phrasing, and it is condemned to die, then the serpent would have lied, whereas God wouldn't have.
Well, and that was my next question. Yeah,
I'm gonna look right now.
Yeah, look at that, because that was my next question: is are they using the same terminology?
Justice for snakes. I agree, Justin. Justice for snakes. They aren't liars. They're only kind of liars.
I have never had a snake lie to me ever. And
I have, but in a way that was not verbal. I used to have a pet snake, and it was always nice to me.
Same phrase.
It is.
So
yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah, it's low. Oh man, that could be. I'm sorry. I am so sorry to throw that kind of a wrench, but it was so fascinating.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd love to hear what Justin says about it. Also, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Well, we can't trust Justin. Justin,
you are so
hates
cute,
God.
Bert. You do not have to apologize for educating us on anything. And Justin's in the chat, so now he's gonna come up and yell at you, Bert. I'm gonna drop him. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing.
Justin just hates God, so he's gonna lie about it anyway. So we can't trust him. I wouldn't trust.
So
true
to
that.
Wrap. So God says, "In that day you shall surely be condemned," but the snake then says, "You will not be condemned."
That's exactly. It's the same construct. It's a double. It's a command form plus the personalized command form. So it's mot, meaning you shall unalive. Tamot, you shall Yeah, well, it's hard to explain, but it's a yeah.
Well, what is condemnation? Is in this?
Yeah, no, it's yeah, it's an idiom. It's an idiom for.
Bert, just hold on 1 second. Crystal, can you keep this going for a minute? I'll be gone for probably like 5 minutes. I have to go run an errand, but I will be right back.
Okay, I'll try. Christine Carroll, I hope you're in chat to help me like you helped me when I was in Dugald's live and he left me alone. I tried to tell a joke and I screwed the whole joke up. I mean, the whole thing almost came down. Like, oh my God. Dugald's whole career was almost over. You guys can.
When later on, basically they were forced out of the garden.
It's before that. It's before.
It's before
that. So this is the moment that God says, "Don't eat from the tree, or you shall surely mot tamot."
Oh no! Like, is it also referenced because, like, the major part of this story is
so you surely mot tamot
referenced because unalive. They were just kind of forced out from that.
Well, that's a great point. That's a great point too, because it never actually says that Eve unalived. It says that Adam lived a certain amount of time, but it never says that Eve unalived. So that is a nice. There's still a nice ripple in the text there.
Eve is still walking
Eve-
around this earth as we speak.
She's eternal.
Yeah. Well,
You ever see that video? Like the
and,
very
and
first
if
woman was a woman who ate.
well, not only
Yes.
that they would have to admit that the story is only about men. So it's like a double-bladed sword. Either Eve is still living on, or it's very clear in this passage, accompanied by many others, that is very male focused.
Totally. Well, I mean, you know, same with the rest of the book, right?
But yeah,
Right,
yeah.
because God loves penises. He loves foreskins and he hates
Well,
yeast.
I was gonna say
So
he hates
just
the
remember that.
foreskins.
If someone asked me to bring them 100 foreskins, I'm bringing them 200. I am an overachiever.
I mean,
Oh my God.
you are an overachiever.
I was on a live the other day where somebody, it was Alaska, AK, who was saying, and I really don't, I shouldn't have, never mind, I'm not going to say it because she's not here to tell the story. So if you,
Okay.
oh, fuck, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Yep.
You're so, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
So much respect
That was-
for her.
Yeah. Oh, she did tell me, and I keep forgetting. I'm supposed to watch some videos on Deborah Grace's news feed where I guess they had a really funny live the other day. I'm supposed to watch that. You guys keep tapping the screen. We are at 23,000 likes. Let's get to, 50, 60 million in the next 20 minutes.
60 million, that's totally achievable.
Yeah, right. Like if everybody bazillion tapped, we would get there eventually.
I actually had a question for Bert before he left.
Oh no.
Hey.
He must have had to go. Bert is in the Discord and has his own Discord channel. If you ever have questions for Bert and you're in the Deconstruction Junction Discord, then just drop by his channel, tag him, and ask him anything you want. He's really nice. He hangs out in there and he does like to answer questions. So
I actually wanted to ask a question about the term for marriage in the Bible. I've done a bit of research on this, and I wanted to know their thoughts, or if anyone has thoughts on this. Crystal, do you know? Like specifically that gets translated even in the NRSV.
what is it?
Well,
I'm outside. I sound like I'm in the. I'm not. I don't know what's making that noise, but I'm just sitting out back. Sorry, you guys.
Yeah. So it's either Baal or man or woman. There's no actual term as far as I'm familiar with. That's why I wanted to ask that.
Oh, God.
Marriage in the Bible actually wasn't really the thing that we think about it today. Baal
No.
after, yeah. So I wanted to see, because I've been looking at this for quite some time, and I've not found a specific word outside of these general terms.
Huh. Let me see. I'm muting because Doug's TV's on, but let me look something up here on my iPad. By the way, if you're a Christian or a believer of the God of the Bible, the guest box is open.
Fight us. Fight me. Grr. Now I'm the only one here. Hi, y'all. The God of the Bible is evil. Yeah, grr is my statement.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So in the Hebrew Bible, there isn't a single word that perfectly translates to marriage as we understand it in English. Instead, several Hebrew words and phrases convey aspects of marriage, including Baal, which means husband or lord, Laquach or Laquach, I'm not sure how they pronounce it, meaning to take or to take as wife, and ona, meaning time, duty, or season. The term nisuin is also used to describe wedding and marriage, though it's not used to describe wedding and marriage, says the Jerusalem prayer team.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah,
that's very interesting.
yeah. Or adum. Like there in many of the times it just says like man or woman as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. Hey, Sticks, can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
I'm 32.
Okay, and are you a Christian or a believer of the God of the Bible?
I am, yes.
All right. Well, Joyful will be right back, but Ashlyn is our co-host tonight, and we're talking tonight about how God is evil.
Feel that.
What say you?
Well, I guess it really comes down to what is our
Sticks, when we're talking about God specifically, you said you're Christian, correct? Correct.
I'm a believer that Jesus knew the way, and I'm also a believer in the Abrahamic God. Yeah. Abrahamic God. Yes.
Well, I'm just going to tell you it's a contradiction, because if you're looking at the Jewish God versus the Christian God versus the because like the Abrahamic God, Christian God versus
Yeah.
Okay, so which one of those belief systems do you think that Jesus died for your sins? Do you think that Muhammad was the way? Do you think that Elohim? Like, you've got to be more specific than that.
I hear. Okay. Well, I'd love to explain. I guess my thoughts on it are that Muhammad was a prophet. Jesus was the Messiah. I do believe in the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, but from the perspective that the Father represents past consciousness, the Son represents present consciousness, and the Son, or in the Holy Spirit, represents the spirit of righteousness that gets activated through suffering and pain and wrongdoing.
Can I ask a question real quick? Why would you believe that Muhammad was a prophet and that Jesus was the Messiah? Aren't those contradictory statements in the belief systems?
So that is a normal thought of Muslims, is that Muhammad is a prophet and Jesus is the Messiah, but he
No. Muslims do not believe that Jesus was
Incorrect.
the Messiah. They believe
he's
he
not
was
the
a
triune
prophet.
God. No, he's not the triune God.
No,
But he's
no,
not the
he
Messiah
was not
either.
the Messiah.
Okay. Well, that's about as far as this conversation will go. Have a good night.
Okay. Come up here and spew nonsense. You're going to be called out.
He wanted to come up here and lie. See, that's why I did that right there, because I was like, what's he saying? He cannot believe that Muhammad is a prophet and Jesus is the Messiah. Those two things are contradictory in the belief system.
No, Jesus was a prophet the same as Muhammad, but Muhammad was the last of the prophets. No, Jesus was a prophet according to Islam. I don't know why you have to lie and sit in the chat and even lie. Jesus was not a Messiah.
That's why I have.
They don't even believe Jesus died.
That's why I have them tell me what it is, because I've heard it too many times at this point. Well, I just believe in the Abrahamic God. I'm like, well, sweetheart, you're gonna have to tell me what you mean by that.
The only thing they believe about Jesus as far as being a Muslim is he was the Messiah, quote unquote, of the Jews, but he was a false Messiah. That
gentleman was not a Muslim. He is a Christian who is trying to say that Muslims also believe that Jesus is the Messiah, but they don't believe that. That's not true.
That's a true thing. I'm going to bring Ems up, and maybe if I'm wrong, Ems will correct me here.
I sent him. I'm the one who sent him the thing. I'm like, come over here.
Well,
and get on up here.
He didn't say this. He didn't say that Muslims thought that Jesus was the Messiah. He said he thought that Jesus was Messiah
No, I know he didn't say that, but I know why he was saying it, because that's what that's what Christians
What?
say. Christians tried to say that the prophet thought that Jesus was the Messiah to give credence to their belief system, to say, like, look, even the prophet Muhammad thought Jesus was the Messiah, but the prophet
No,
Muhammad did
that's not
not
what
think
he
that.
said, Crystal. I'm
He
not
said
gonna
that he thought that Jesus was the Messiah and that Muhammad
All
was a
right,
prophet.
so
Oh yeah. That.
Ems
Yeah.
is saying no, he is. So maybe we're wrong.
Yeah. He said that specifically Sticks said that he thought that Jesus was Messiah, and that Muhammad was a prophet, which is not normal for a Christian belief, but it is the reverse belief on that, and I don't find
And
it
he-
to be. It's
Yeah,
not
Ems,
Ems can't come up or something?
If you can
because-
come up, I would like to hear what you say. Well, no, because when I look it up, okay, what it tells me is that he was, according to Islam, a Messiah, but not in like the way the Christians think. He just was the prophet of Israel, for Israel.
Oh no. What he is saying is that he has it like in a different way, whereas Jesus was the main focus, and then Muhammad was just this random prophet.
See, that's the difference.
Right.
Is Muslims believe that. I do believe, and M's. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for M's to come up because I feel like I'm speaking out of my league, because I thought Muslims believed from my research was Muslims believed that Jesus and Muhammad were the same but different. Like they were for different people at a different time, basically. But I could be wrong. I thought he said like 10 minutes or something like that.
No, he's around like.
He said he's around 10 people right now. It's kind of noisy.
Oh, okay. Right on. We'll have to talk about it later, Ems. Maybe you were right.
I misspoke because I thought that the prophet Muhammad didn't see Jesus as a Messiah, but maybe it's because the person who was telling me that was trying to explain to me not the way Christians see Jesus as the Messiah.
He when I asked him about the Abrahamics and which one he believed in, he said it was a unique form of reference. This is why I was like, okay. He basically said that like he saw it kind of in reverse.
See, like,
I didn't find it contradictory.
Like, I'm looking at Islam QA, and I could be wrong. I mean, this doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it says that Muslims believe Jesus was a prophet that was sent to the children of Israel.
He's not Muslim.
Who?
Sticks does not claim to be Muslim.
No, I know, but he was saying that Muslims believed that Jesus was a Messiah, and like,
no, he said specifically his belief system was that Jesus was the Messiah and Muhammad was a prophet.
No, he
also said the
Muslims
prophet believed that Jesus was the Messiah.
Yep.
He said the prophet believed that, and apparently Ems is backing him up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Jesus was a prophet.
No, he's saying that
the prophet Muhammad believed.
Yeah, I think we're all
that
confused.
Jesus was the Messiah, not nobody else. The main thing we were asking him about was, did the prophet Muhammad himself believe that Jesus was the Messiah? And he said yes.
Well, esoteric outlaw, come up and present us with what you're talking about. I mean, you can sit down there and cry that we don't understand and but unless you come up and present us with it, we don't know what you're even crying about.
I don't remember him presenting that.
Yeah. What I heard was that he said that Islam taught that Jesus was it was the same as Muslims believe, that Jesus was the Messiah and Muhammad was a prophet.
Yeah, because that was a question that I was asking him.
I know. You won't come up. You'll sit down and cry in the chat and not come up. I get it, esoteric.
Well, I apologize then, because I just misinterpreted that.
Yeah, I'm really confused. So if I was wrong, if we were wrong about that, Sticks, I am sorry. Sometimes my understanding of Islam is not as good as it should be for the conversations that are happening.
I have like 2 Qurans now. I need to read them.
Oh, look at now esoteric saying stupid shit. Okay, the algorithm. What's up?
Evening all.
What's your age for TikTok purposes?
I'm 2,437. Thank you very much.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Good.
Thank you for claiming
I wish
that.
Bert was still up here. I had a question for him, but maybe you folks could answer it for me. What he was talking about back there in the garden. Remember, I spend my days chewing chalk and crayons. Could you break that down to me in layman's terms?
Okay, so what he is saying is that the interpretation could be from the Hebrew that they are condemned to die when they eat of the fruit, not that they will surely die on that day. Like most interpretations say. It could mean that, but it could also mean on that day you will be condemned to death. You will be... Yep. So that's what he is saying could be an accurate interpretation of it.
You know,
well, that still works. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead, Algo.
That still works with my point being that there is no such thing as objective morality, because this is one of those cases where the fictional Bible character of God changes its mind. They eat the fruit. You know what? I'm not going to unalive you. I'm just going to punish you. Well, it changed its mind.
Michelle. Yeah.
Also, I would like to point out, a lot of people forget this. That also means that God isn't all-knowing. Because if this character in the book was truly all-knowing, then it would never have a need to change its mind. It would automatically already know what the best route to take would be for any given situation. It would already have that planned out. So it would have no reason to change its mind. So there you go. I just wanted to ask that. Thank you all very much for the info. Thank you, Bert. Thank you, everybody on the panel. Have a great night. Be well.
Hey, we're having a conversation here. What are you doing? I'm just kidding. No, what I was gonna say is, even if, let's pretend like, okay, that changes everything. Suddenly now it wasn't on that day, and suddenly now the snake is the liar and God is right. So what? What about the 40 million other things I'm going to point to in the Bible that is either stupid, a contradiction, and, just blatantly wrong? Like, okay, so what? I don't, like, that changes nothing for me that suddenly maybe God didn't lie in the garden.
Oh, I agree with you. I mean, as I've been saying, it's all fiction.
Exactly. The fact that the snake is talking is the first problem with that story, okay, people?
But that's what's so easy for me when I am wrong to admit I'm wrong, because, okay, I'm wrong about that. Let's move on to the next fucking thing that happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's easy for me to move on from a talking point.
Hey, Rabian, if you think there's no contradictions in the Bible, come on up. Let's have a chat.
Yeah, come on up, Rabian, and we can ask you about
contradictions
what did Judas do with that silver?
Yep.
All right, I'll drop down. Love you guys. Love you all. Crystal,
Love you,
Jay,
Algo.
Joyful, Ashland.
Thanks for
Y'all
being
have a great
here,
night.
guys.
I'll be out in the comments.
Make sure you're following Algo and Big W in the chat. He's amazing, great supporter of the community, a mod for everybody, and the voice. Like, that's just such a great voice.
I just
He
want to
does
know
have a great voice.
why I'm a horrible person, and I had been following.
Rainbow! You
hadn't been following him before because I just realized I wasn't following.
Oh, you know
This was
what?
very
I-
deceptive.
yes.
I'm mad. Look at this.
Why?
If I can get it to show. This shows it's like a dark blue.
Okay, welcome to nail polish and all of women's just the entire industry of our hygiene and care. Welcome to it, because this is all.
I've never had this problem. This is literally clear with just blue glitter in it.
Yeah, that's our shampoos, our conditioners. They promise us crap they don't do.
I do my eyebrows
Joyful.
off camera.
Joyful, you need to do 27 more coats. It'll be exactly like the bottle then. All right? You just haven't done enough of them coats. Okay, here's Ravian. Let's see how old Ravian is. Hey, Ravian, can I... Oh, you dropped down. Oh, don't run. Don't run. Come back.
You won't bother.
I don't even know if... Can you even see?
We can, yeah.
Just a little
Oh,
bit.
really?
Just
Bullshit.
a little bit.
Bullshit. See, I do these
That's the
colors
kind of-
because I can go to work with these colors. I can't do that, like purples and stuff. I do that. I have my daughter do my toes with that.
That's cool. That's not me, Glitter said. You get it? You get it. You guys, I don't know. We don't have any guests in the
I
box
put glitter
right now.
on my fingernails.
I have glitter on my eyes right now.
On your eyeballs?
Not my eyeballs, my eyelids.
No, I'm kidding. I was kidding.
Let's try Ravian again. Let's see if they're staying up this time. Ravian, can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
19.
19? All right, well, God, did you want to talk about the contradictions in the Bible?
No, let's talk about God is evil. Why is he evil to you?
Okay.
He's evil because he tells his people that they can grape women and to unalive infants. Several times he calls for the unalivement of infants. I would say that that is an evil person, no different than somebody like Schmittler from Germany.
So where does it say in the Bible to unalive babies and grape women?
Oh yeah, so 1 Samuel, are you 15:3? Are you familiar with this verse?
Read it to me.
Yeah, it says, the Lord said, just 1 second. I'll start in verse 1. It says, Samuel said to Saul, I am the one the Lord sent to anoint you king over Israel. So listen now to the message of the Lord. This is what the Lord Almighty has said. I am going to punish the Amalekites for what they did to Israel when they waylaid them as they came out of Egypt. Now go and attack the Amalekites and totally destroy all that belonged to them. Do not spare them. Put to death men, women, children, and infants.
Did you read the whole thing, or did you just pick it out of
Well,
context?
did you?
I just literally just read to you what it said up until that point. Do you think that there's context after that that's going to make it okay?
There is context before it, but it doesn't make it any better. It's actually about something that happened 400 years prior.
Yeah, so 400 years prior, when God took them out of Egypt, the Amalekites attacked Israel when they were trying to come into their land. And so God is wanting to unalive these infants for sins of people that lived 400 years before them. Do you think that that is a good thing or a bad thing?
Hey, listen, Ravian, I muted you since you weren't talking right then, and you have some really weird background noise kind of feedback, but you can unmute. It wasn't, you didn't do anything wrong. It just was noisy. We couldn't hear Joyful. I guess that was too much Bible for Ravian. He didn't think that there was anything in there.
He was like, oh my goodness, he did say to kill infants. That's crazy. Some people are easy to just like get to,
Yeah, this
like
right.
be like, oh, okay, never mind.
Pluto, can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
32.
Okay, and are you a Christian or a believer of the God of the Bible?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got news for you, man. God is evil. What do you say about that?
I would say he's not evil.
Why do you think it's evil to tell people that they can grape women?
But he doesn't tell people that.
Oh yeah, he does. Deuteronomy 20 or 21:10. This is God giving laws to Moses to give to his people, and he says, when you go to war against your enemies and the Lord your God hands them over to you and you take them captive, if among the captives you see a beautiful woman who you want to marry, then you bring her to your home. Just a second. She shall shave her head and cut her nails, discard her captive garbs, and remain in your house for 30 days while she mourns her parents. After that, you can go into her and be her husband, and she will be your wife. But when you go into her, if you are not satisfied, then you are to let her go free. Certainly, you shall not sell her for money.
He didn't exactly say to do anything to her though.
Yeah, so he said you can go into her after she mourns the parents that you slaughtered. She's a captive, no different than kidnapping somebody. You took her against her will to your house, got rid of her clothes she was wearing when she was captured, and then you go into her, and you will be her husband, she shall be your wife, and if you're not satisfied when you go into her, then
Yeah,
you let her go.
In the term for marriage here, I'm going to butcher. It's LAQAH. It's not exactly that. It means to take. Like is to like take someone.
Well, that was the concept of marriage in the Old Testament, is you took a woman, made her yours. But so do you think it's good to tell people that if they capture women, they can have sex with them, and if they're not satisfied with the sex, then to turn them free?
No, that's not right.
Okay, so that is why I think your God is evil. Fair?
He's not evil though.
Do you want some other reasons?
You want some other reasons?
No, I want to remain on this. You don't think graping?
It's just I have to look up the verse too though, like.
Yeah.
I know you're reading it and looking at it, but I haven't.
He will come or enter. Like he's raping her. You don't think that's evil?
But how do you know that God told him to do that?
That's what the Bible says, and that's the only way that a Christian can know God is through the Bible.
But was the people that did that, were they Christians?
They were Israel. They were God's chosen people.
These were the rules of God.
But were they like followers of God?
They were believers. They were believers.
Like this was two
They were
God's
believers.
people. These are the Israelites.
I know it's hard
Okay,
to believe,
so
but
Pluto, let me explain something to you. So in the book of Peter, it says when Jesus was in the grave for the 3 days and 3 nights, he went to those who were in captivity that did not believe in the God and redeemed them unto himself. So the people of Israel did believe in God, so they didn't need to be redeemed unto Jesus. This would have been the heathen nations that Jesus went and witnessed to, according to the book of Peter. So yes, I can say with confidence that the people these laws were given to were Christian people. Either that or you believe some Christians go to heaven without being Christians.
The thing is too though is like God like gave them a chance and like there's consequences to your actions too though.
So sometimes it's good to grape women.
It's not good, but
Okay, so God told them to
that's what
do
they
something
chose.
not... No, they didn't choose
God,
to be graped.
if you're
Do you
saying
know what
that,
victim blaming is?
God most likely told them the word that what's gonna happen, and they
listen,
still
you
chose to
didn't even
disobey.
know about this story before, and you're going to tell us at some point tonight that God's ways are higher than your ways.
No, I kind of
So
do know the story. I'm just trying to remember.
You did not know the story.
Yeah, I
you
did.
not. No, you didn't. Now you're just
I
making
feel like we're
stuff
getting
up.
a bunch of trolls tonight.
Pluto. In any case, if I go, hey, I know what's best, and I can poof out of the bottom of my heart, and I'd be like, you know what, I want 1,000 puppies right now. I'm sure you'd be like, God can do that. And then you're like, no, God didn't do that. 1,000 puppies. I want 1,000 puppies because like God's all powerful, right? Do you think God's all powerful?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's really bad for you in this context. So God is all powerful, and he's like, you know what? These women, all of these women, that when you go to war, because by the way, that's the context of this, all women, when you go to war in this time period, you can just rape them. But he could have literally just done anything else because he's all powerful. That's what you're telling me right now. He could have like poofed like a whole other reality.
You know what, Ashlyn, what I'm hearing right now as you say that, it's making me realize so this God could not possibly be all powerful and all loving and have done this thing.
So if it happened, if you're saying that that's what happened, then how is it? And it's saying right there that because they disowned him or whatever, then how is he not all powerful?
Well,
No.
it's a dichotomy. This is a true dichotomy. The logic is follows: either God is all powerful and he's evil for allowing this action, or he's not all powerful because he couldn't stop it.
Well, you just read it that the guy just said that because this should happen to them because they did this and that. And
that isn't what I said.
That's not what was said.
You didn't listen.
Again,
2110 does not say
you
that.
didn't know this story, Pluto, and you
these are-
keep
Yeah, I
trying
do
to
know
say
the
that,
story.
Pluto. No,
No,
you
no.
don't. This is no. Ashley, let me talk to him for a minute. You did not know this story, and I'm
I've
trying
heard
to
the
talk to you
story
about.
before. I was just
Stop
trying
for
to
a minute.
remember.
I'm talking. Stop. I'm trying to be very patient tonight. Okay. Listen. You didn't know this story. Joyful brought the story up to you. You might have some memory of it, but you don't know the story, and you keep presupposing things about it. But in the same breath, you will tell us that God's ways are higher and you couldn't know the mind of God. But you keep telling us what God's mind was in this story that you don't even know. You just have some memory of it. Stop doing that. I'm sorry, I accidentally muted you. I was going to send you an invite to unmute.
Crystal, you were right.
Yeah, more quotes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pluto, you can go
They
ahead.
did turn out nice.
But those are like enemies that did that. Like those, you don't really know that they were followers of God.
These were called the laws concerning war. These were laws in the Torah.
It doesn't matter if there are enemies. Like Pluto, right
Yeah,
now,
it does.
if
You
we
know
went,
why?
no, it doesn't, Pluto. If we go to war against another country right now, I do not want our soldiers raping women from the other country. And you know what? It is against the Geneva Convention. It is against our military code. It is literally written into the code of ethics for the military members that you can't do that. So that means our military has better morals than your God.
Okay,
Well, you're talking about nowadays, but God's.
Pluto. Well, let's talk about this. If we were to go to war with someone else right now, and would you say, well, it's a justification, we could just grape the women there, that's cool.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't know if those people were actually followers of God or that was their like enemies
So it's
right
cool
there.
if they're pantheist. You're like, cool, they're
And an
pantheists.
enemy is not like most likely not a follower of God. Like,
So I'm an atheist. Could you grape me if you went to
he
war
most
against
likely
me?
just allowed
No,
he
Pluto.
he,
I'm
he
an
allowed the enemy
atheist.
to.
If they're not a follower of God, it's okay to grape them, is what Pluto is saying, and it's making me sick to my stomach. And I'm really
No,
trying
I'm
to be
not.
calm tonight, Joyful. I'm not. I'm really trying not to lose my shit on these people. But when you're sitting here telling me that they weren't followers of God, so they deserve to be graped, I want to reach through this screen. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get it. I get it. Do we have anybody else in the TikTok queue since we have people up? No, but we do have somebody over here on Video Ninja. Let's see if there are any better.
Reach through this screen. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Girl, you and me both.
It's a great thing to echo. Oh, Ashley, let me at him. Let me at him.
Uncle Luke, are you with us?
Yeah, can you hear me, man?
Yeah, I can hear you. How are you?
Yo, I tried joining you like, I don't know when, man. It was like last week or something, and you couldn't hear me. It's like, but I'm glad you can hear me now, though. I'm excited.
Right on. Are you a Christian and what's your age?
Yeah, man, I'm 30 years old. I do subscribe myself to be a Christian, but definitely imperfect. And I missed your name, man. I'm sorry if I didn't hear it.
I'm just Joyful.
Joyful? All right, bro. That's a good name. I'll call you that. Joyful. Nice to meet you. I'm Luke.
Right on, right on. So Luke, do you think that God is all loving?
No.
So you think that part of him is evil or hateful?
I wouldn't say that. I think that the Bible doesn't subscribe God to one character only. I think the premise of the question is actually has an incorrect miscontextualization of what the Bible actually portrays God, which is to be a multi-characteristic God. To say God is love would be very unidimensional. One-dimensional. Wow, that's a mind break. One-dimensional being, right? And we can look at ourselves and even say we're definitely not one-dimensional. I'm sure you can say you're not love all the time. Just sure as heck I can't say that. So it's not fair to ascribe something to where we don't even meet the standard to a being that's, like let's just say outside of time. So
is 1 John 4:16 lying when it says God is love?
Yeah, that's one of his attributes. Absolutely. But I don't think it's safe to say it's the only attribute is that God is only love.
Okay. Do you think that so do you think God also exhibits hate?
Well, does he just believe that God is evil too, and then he agrees with the
I think hate is a very human thing. because hate is based on a lot of characteristics of unfairness, imbalance, injustice, and to ascribe something of the human experience to an extra dimensional being is not fair.
So you think that a feeling of passionate dislike is a human thing and not something God can do?
I believe that passionate dislike, it depends on the degree. So, for example, humans can hate someone based on characteristics that are uncontrollable, such as race.
Does God hate sin?
Absolutely, and I think...
Okay, so God can hate. Yeah, that's weird how that works.
Yeah, it's a characteristic. I said characteristic. I didn't say God can't hate.
Okay.
I said the specific characteristic.
Okay, so if I can hate, is that a characteristic of who I am?
I think it shows a personhood of likes and dislikes.
Okay.
And hate is a strong form of dislike.
Yep.
Towards something. And I'm sure as a being, you could say you hate child molestation.
Yep.
Fair enough. I believe God hates that.
Okay.
And for God to be a person...
Then why did why do you think God hated, why do you think God hates child, SA?
Okay.
Can you provide me with, like, scripture that would show me that? Because I can provide you with scripture that God actually promotes child SA.
Okay. I would like to hear your point on that. That's actually a very, very, that's a very good point you're making. Let me see what the verses you're talking about. That's actually really, really cool. Let me hear it.
Yeah, so Numbers 31, are you familiar with it?
I'd love to hear you talk about it. I don't have the Bible entirely memorized. It's 66 books. That's a lot.
Yeah, so Moses starts off by talking here, and then we're going to go to what God says. He says, "Have you allowed all the women to live?" He asked them. They were the ones that followed Balaam's advice and enticed the Israelites to be unfaithful to the Lord in the Peor incident. Hold on one second, sorry. I have a train going by, so I'm going to mute up. I live by a train track. It is so inconvenient.
Yo, that is righteously loud.
This is when everybody is pulling a train on Joyful. See? Look at how happy he is. He's happy. Look at that smile.
Allowing a space for this conversation to happen. I hope not to be like the other people.
No, a lot of the people are just fucking assholes.
To listen to, I'll be
yeah,
honest.
it's disgusting to hear a lot of their talking points. But
I hear you.
Numbers 31. We're gonna start back where I started. Have you allowed all the women to live? He asked them. They were the ones who followed Balaam's advice and enticed the Israelites to be unfaithful to the Lord in the Peor incident, so that the plague would strike the Lord's people.
I can't hear you.
Okay.
I think you're muted.
Okay. I will start one more time. I am sorry about that.
I am so sorry. I don't know how much you said.
Oh, I just started to read it again. We'll read it one more time. Sorry, TikTok and YouTube. This is take 3. Because of the train the first time. Have you allowed all the women to live? He asked them. They were the ones who followed Balaam's advice and enticed the Israelites to be unfaithful to the Lord in the Peor incident, so that the plague struck the Lord's people. Now unalive all the boys and unalive all the women who have slept with a man, but save for yourselves every young girl who has not slept with a man. Anyone who has killed somebody or touched someone who was unalived must stay outside the camp 7 days. On the 3rd day and the 7th day, you must purify yourselves and your captives, And then in verse 25, it starts, the Lord says to Moses, you and Eleazar, the priest, and the family heads of the community are to count all of the young girls and the animals that were captured, divide them between the soldiers who took part in the battle. So do you think that God is anti-abuse of children or pro-abuse of children?
I think there are a couple characteristics there when comparing to the historical contextualization of how other empires and peoples behaved at that time, which this is a historical accounting.
Yep.
So, and in a historical accounting at that time, it's important to understand kind of like what the sentiment and the normal behavior, the normal culture of those people were. Because a lot of time when we read it, I will ascribe modern sentiment and value that took us thousands of years to develop to this point to people back then, and it's unfair to people who live back then to live according to our standards. So I think
God didn't know our separation. God is not timeless. He has to conform to the day.
I believe that God is indeed, like, God is a outside of time creature, so time doesn't apply to God.
Yeah, so why would he tell people to do bad things to children in that time period if he is not bound by a time or culture?
So when dealing with mortal beings that are stuck to time, matter, space, you kind of have to take into consideration what you're dealing with at the time you're dealing with it, right? So, for example, during that time, the Amalekites would sacrifice children. They would have sexual encounters with their own children. There's a lot of contextualization here that is
God told his people to sacrifice. Yeah, but God told himself to check. Hold on. God told these talking points are poor because God actually commanded his people to sacrifice their own children, for one. For two, it's a bad talking point because God also told them not to wear mixed fabrics in the same book. He told them not to eat shellfish. He told them not to eat pork. He told them all sorts of, not to pick up sticks on the Sabbath. He told them all sorts of things that culturally would be things they would do, not to do. So why, when it comes to graping children, would God be like, oh, can't tell them not to do that. In fact, I'm going to tell them to do it.
Let's just mention this. You're saying that you're attributing that God is saying that to do like forced sexual encounters upon children. I think you're ascribing to something there that the text doesn't say.
What's that?
Right?
Bible.
That God is commanding that, because that's a jump. That's quite a jump.
How is that a jump? He says to hand them out as prizes of war to the soldiers. How do you? And you can only take. And you can only take the ones that haven't slept with a man. In the Bible, how does it tell you how to know if a woman is a virgin or not?
If she's had her first bleeding.
Yep. How would they know if she had her first bleeding or not?
I believe like that's like the monthly cycle.
No. Virgin. Do you not know how virginity works? Like, periods have nothing to do with your virginity.
When you said bleeding, like, back then, when they looked at a sign of, like, when a woman was mature, like,
I'm talking
back then looked at a woman's period, actually.
Being a virgin, they did not look at their period. How did they know if a woman had slept with a man or not? According to the Bible, how do you know if a woman has slept with a man or not? I can tell you it's in Deuteronomy 22.
Not only this.
That's in regards to penetration, and if she's bled during penetration. But I just want to say
how would you know that?
a mark of womanhood in those
That
days
has
across
nothing
all
to do with
cultures.
this verse at all. Why are we going to the mark of womanhood? We're talking about if a woman has slept with, or if a girl has slept with a man or not.
Because it's possible for a woman to be considered a girl at that age, a woman at that age and time, and still be a virgin.
Your period does
I don't
not
care.
tell you
It
whether
says
you're
that
a
you can
virgin or not.
only
The text
save.
doesn't give
It
you
says
that
you can
context, that's all
only
I'm saying.
save the young girls that have not slept with a man. How would they know if they slept with a man or not, according to the scripture? It's in
Is if you
Deuteronomy
have intercourse
22.
with them,
You
they
can
bleed.
you can honestly just look at the
So,
Hebrew.
what do you think happened to these young girls to see if they were virgins or not?
They would have intercourse.
Okay, so God is telling them to fuck children. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
It doesn't say they're children.
It says young girls. There's a distinction. It says women. Did you let all the women live? And then it says young girls. It's two different Hebrew words. One is for young girls and one is for women. So we know that any girl that did not sleep with a man was given out to the soldiers, no matter the age. Any girl, no matter the age, was given out to the soldiers. So do you think that it is good that they were given out as prizes of war based on your God's own laws, command?
I absolutely don't think that is good, but I also will acknowledge that that was common behavior for across all cultures during that time.
That's fine. Your God,
yeah.
Your God is supposed to be all good, he's not hateful. You said at the beginning of this that he does not support the abuse of children in a sexual way, but I just showed you where he does. And now you're just saying, well, culturally, that's that was appropriate at the time. No, your God approved of child SA, and that's what happened.
So hard.
I don't know what else to tell you.
During that period in history, I will say this, is if you were to have the modern sentiments of telling people not to steal back then, it would have been asking a lot. And I think it has
No, they
taken
cut people's
human
hands.
being-
Nope. In Israel, they were supposed to cut off people's hands if they stole. Do you think that
idolatry was frowned upon?
like that was literally a law given by your God during the time? So your talking points are horrible. Your God was purely okay with telling them not to do things that went against the time period and things that were common. But not when it came to sexually assaulting children or owning slaves or any of those things.
So one thing I learned from you is this, is that there is a difference in translation in between the word women in that word and the word being used for girls. That I did not know.
Yep.
So you're telling me that in Hebrew, the word that is being used is specifically mentioning girls that are like pre-period.
No,
Because
I'm not saying
period is
pre-period.
a mark of
So you
womanhood.
so you think that it's okay for me to sleep with a 13-year-old because they had a period, or a 10-year-old? Some 10-year-olds have periods, so you think it's appropriate for a full-grown
youngest
man
girl
to
to
have
have a baby was
intercourse
5.
with a 10-year-old? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, that's a horrible misstatement.
No, you said any person that has had a period, that is sign of womanhood. That is your excuse for what is happening here. And what I'm saying is there are 10 and 9-year-olds that have periods. So by your own admission, that is womanhood. So by your own admission, that makes it okay to do whatever I want with them. As long as they've had a period.
I'm living in 2025. That's the age of maturity in 2025, especially in the United States, is 18 years old or higher, right? Let's just be honest.
Na'ara.
But can you say it was the same back 2,000 years ago?
No,
or
but we
3,000
can
years
look
ago?
back and say it was fucking disgusting. I don't know why Christians can't.
The word
Oh no,
is
that is absolutely
Nahara,
disgusting.
and it's 12 to 12
But
point
it took
time.
like we gotta separate here. Something is
Your God
it
is
took
eternal.
humanity. Okay, this is
Your
a sad
God
fucking
says to
point.
fuck children, and now your excuse is that was part of the time. No, your God is eternal. He knows right from wrong. If he says you can fuck children, that means your God is okay with fucking children. It doesn't matter the time. Or you have to say that your God is condensed to time and culture and has to abide within those parameters.
Yeah, that's a pretty good argument. I'm not gonna front. And especially, I'm trying to make sense of that. I'll be honest with you, because to me, in my framework of mind, I don't see that as a good thing. I don't see that as excusable, no matter what time you're in. And I do follow your point. But also, to me, in my frame of mind is the frame of mind that I can't imagine that a God would allow that.
I understand that. I get that.
So
I've been there and I've
I'm
done that.
trying to right now. The process is reconciling these points. Okay, so is it from the point of view of this being like doing something permissible that was common for people at that time, and then over time people's changing to eventually to get to where we are in the future and saying that's horrible, don't do that.
Even several years
Is that the
after
ultimate
this,
goal of this being that stands outside of time?
The Jewish perspective
Would have
had
been
changed
easier to at that time
because
just
of
say
this.
don't do that. And then, but the Bible is full of instances of God saying don't do
The
that,
Talmud
Or
and people
is it
doing it.
more likely
So
that
it's
a
like
man
to
came
me,
up with
it's
this and over
struggling to
time
figure out
men
where
realized
is
it was
it
gross?
God or human kind of overlapping here. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I get
Or
what
is
you're
it
saying, but when I look at the Bible, and this is just me,
Yeah.
I look at it and I say, if God is saying this is okay, this is the God that supposedly created everything. He supposedly knows the beginning to the end already, and he supposedly knows what's best for all of humanity. And if he's telling people at any point in time that harming girls, let's just say girls, I won't even say young girls, girls is good, I'm going to say I don't believe in that God, because I do not believe that if a God was setting precedents within Scripture that people are going to be able to look at, he would have the hindsight to know that this is fucked up. And people are going to say, hey, that's fucked up. The God said to do something fucked up.
Is why it's okay to do
Yeah,
this to
no,
girls,
that is fucked
but
up.
then
No, like, if
it's-
that
it's
is indeed
so-
like the direct, like
so
if what you're
cast on
saying,
when it
and
comes to women,
I'm buying into
Like,
what you're saying in regards to
girls
the
are one
Hebrew
thing.
translation, right? If you're saying the
Women-
Hebrew translation literally means what in that
As
culture was
women, I
considered
guess.
a girl,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Like, you're absolutely right. You got a freaking point on you there, man. I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm not even gonna front. That's a hell of a point.
It's okay to do this to women, though.
Yeah.
It's totally chill.
But then my question would be for you, so are you okay if it, let's say it wasn't young girls, is this okay to do to virgin women? To hand them out as spoils of war to warriors?
No, man, I don't agree. Like, dude, as a Westerner, I don't agree that's a good thing right now. And needless to say that there are cultures in the East that still do this.
Oh, I agree. That is true.
And that, but you see, this is where it gets into like some freaking dicey territory in regards to where you hold your perspective, right? Because then we have to question ourselves: why do I have the right to say this is wrong and impose that on other people?
Well, I would say
No, you absolutely
And that's the same thing as what you say with religion, right? That Christians impose their with other people.
In Islamic,
And I think this is
anyone
the same
that
thing
does
happening here at a different level.
We are
That question.
imposing our non-grapey
You know?
ways on other people.
Yeah, of course. Well, Luke, I am getting ready to end this live. Come back another time. You were a great guest. I thank you for the conversation. You were very honest and went through the text with me, and I don't get that a lot. A lot of times people just want to talk out their ass and be like, oh, but check the things I said. Come back next time. I'm live Mondays and Thursdays, and if there's something I said that was wrong, as I said earlier in this, somebody came up and pointed out something that I've talked about a lot is being wrong. I will be honest and say I was wrong about that, and I will move away from that argument or that point. So yeah, for sure. I hope you come back. Thank you for being here. Luke, you were an awesome guest.
All right, peace, bro. Take it easy. Bye.
See ya. Luke is very indoctrinated, but I think Luke was trying to be as honest. He was more honest than I would have been in a conversation like that.
You had some good talks tonight.
No, we did.
We had really good conversations tonight.
We had really good talks. Guys, thank you all for being here. TikTok did not push us out. We did a trans background to begin with, and TikTok does not like that when I do LGBTQ stuff. But we're going to do it all month, regardless. I don't care. They can not send me out. They can do whatever they want. That's what's going to happen here on my live. We're going to be doing Pride stuff for the first half, and then we'll do God stuff the second half. And then one night is just going to be a Pride night where we talk to people that are part of the community and kind of talk about their experience and talk about ways us as a deconstruction community can do better in learning about the LGBTQ community, and we can do better in furthering the anti-bigotry that is happening, especially right now with the administration that we are dealing with.
And I want to kind of add, and people kind of ask me this a lot, especially like being on the lives with Dalton. Ashlyn, why don't you do lives on this? I never deconstructed. I didn't have to. I don't know what it's like. And I want to make that like very clear, and I probably haven't been very clear on this. I didn't.
I feel like you've said that every time you've been up on my live, Ashlyn, so I think for me you've been very clear.
Yeah. Like I don't know how to say it. Like sometimes like I kind of get that question. It's like why Ashland? Especially because of Dalton, and Dalton deconstructed, or probably didn't actually at this point. I was just friends with them. I don't actually know a ton about I promise you, like, I know, like, I know okay, but like my perspectives are generally based on a non-deconstructive point of view, and it's the major accolades I want to give here is
if there are any better. Oh shit! Sorry.
How you treat individuals who are deconstructing, and I'm actually learning from how you're talking to individuals.
Well, I think that's the big thing is like getting away from, like, I'm not so worried about the person I'm talking to anymore. I'm worried about the people that are listening, because I feel like a lot more times the people in the chat are the people that come up later and like, hey, I've been watching you for a long time. Sometimes it's the people I talk to. Zach came up last time and he was saying some things. He's come up. But I think changing that mindset from it's not always about the cooking of whoever or whatever. Because at first that was like the big thing is like a very explosive live with cooking. But the more I've got into this space where I feel like these people were me from a deconstruction standpoint, the more I'm like, you know, I get it. I get where you're coming from. I get, like, the last guest. I get where he's coming from. He doesn't want to just be like, yeah, that's fucked. He doesn't want to be like, yeah, God shouldn't have done that. Or anything like that. I get that because I was there. And I've done it.
And my kind of same perspective comes and more political. That's why I like start with like political lives. That's where I started. It was not in like religious, and like even though I wouldn't say that I ever like had any like hatred towards the community. I didn't find myself a part of it, and nor did I defend it the way that I do today. Like it kind of comes from that, like I had questions, and like some of my questions I would even call bigoted just based on my understanding or lack of understanding, therefore. So like I would say that I like better connect with that, and that's why I like do more of like political lives, because
when I do
quite understand.
Cow House, we're not doing that tonight. I do enjoy you coming up. Crystal, not so much, but I do enjoy you coming up because of our Calvinistic background.
I don't mind Cow House.
Now, Crystal, there's just certain people Crystal doesn't like me bringing up because she finds them
especially annoying. But Cow House is getting better. We've had nice conversations.
Yeah,
I think for the most part, but. I wanted to tell you, you have to unblock some people maybe tonight, but I've been doing it to protect the live. They show low viewer count and immediately say something when they come in the room that's not good. So just go ahead and unblock them if you want. They didn't do anything egregious, but they also seem very upset immediately, and that can lead to issues.
Yeah. Guys, I'm going to do one last commercial before I leave. If Born Again Atheist comes in here, I would love to have her up. I didn't see her come in, but I did see some people rating from her. If she comes in here, I will gladly bring her up because I have some questions for her myself. Guys, it is Pride Month.
They were telling us we should raid her.
Is that what?
Yeah, I think they were saying when we get, because you said you were going to wrap up.
Yes.
You guys, is she live? Can you check for us?
I'm trying to check right now.
I'm going to drop off, but
yes.
Love is love.
Yes,
people are people.
We'll raid.
My biggest thing from understanding psychology and studying it, and why I freaking love Crystal and Joyful, just let people exist if they're not harming anyone. And love you, Joyful. Love you, Crystal. Thank you so much.
Love you, Ashlyn. Thanks for coming up, you guys. Make sure you
thank you so much.
And W in the chat for Ash.
Yeah, give Born Again Atheist. That's who we're going to raid tonight. We've never done it before. Also, Thinkers Live. If you get a chance after you go to Born Again and show her some love, go over there and show Thinker some love. Thinker is one of my inspirations. Thinker is amazing. And make sure we are all showing Thinker love. Guys, it is Pride Month. Make sure you're getting out there to Pride parades, things like that. Support our local LGBTQ communities. All of us here, we love our LGBTQ communities. And those of us that don't, look into it. Really do a deep dive into the science behind this stuff. And not just go with what your pastor says or your favorite internet troll or whatever. Just make sure that we're understanding and looking at this from the aspect of the LGBTQ if we are people that are against it. Let's look at it. Happy Pride. I am going to sign off for the night. Make sure we're rating Born Again Atheists. And also, we'll be back.
Tell people when I'm going. I'm going to be live Saturday, June 7th, 1 p.m. for Decon Q&A with Crystal J with guest Dark Knight, DARKNYT. If you haven't met Dark Knight, he's amazing. Also, I'm so excited. You guys, Sunday, June 8th at 11 a.m., right after Mezzo's Atheist Sunday School. I have Decon Q&A with Crystal J with Benny and Seth as my guests. So make sure you join us this weekend for Decon Q&A, both Saturday and Sunday.
This guy looks evil. What looks evil about me? The fact that I have God is evil behind me. I got a fresh cut. I'm looking snazzy. You know. Gabriel, I think you're just into me and you're just wanting some.
He's so
DM me
evil, his
later.
hair's red.
Me and you
That's weird.
Me and you can talk about it. Alright, the nails. Yeah, it's the nails. Guys, it did turn out a lot better once I put the third coat on, but it's still not quite as blue as I wanted. But, awesome. You guys, have a great night. I am
Good night,
going
everybody.
to go to bed. See you guys.